You know, the wine is it's a culture world, and in all kinds of culture, painting, literature, you need a little bit of to learn.
When I was younger, I went with him to any kind of hunting. Like my favorite hunting with him, it's you don't shoot. You use words at the top of the tree, and they sing well, and then he attracts the other one, and they come on the floor, and they come with nets. You catch, really, you catch a bird with nets by attracting them. He takes hours.
What do you do with the bird when you catch it?
That's.
Oh,
He's the director of a barrel company, barrel making company. He's very high, one of the high-end specialists in France on wood, barrel, essence of wood, you know, worldwide. And he also, his parents has a small winery here, and he made us.
So you see, in this lemon stone, I don't know if I can find a place, but sometimes you get to have some coquillage. Yeah.
Just imagine, for the visit, I just want to explain you the period of the engravings, so the period of Homo sapiens. But before, just imagine when the cave was twice longer. Look, imagine at the beginning the cave was twice longer. This part of the cave. And just imagine here the occupation by Neanderthal. Okay? Yeah. But for the visit, I can't explain this period. But at this period, this part of the cave collapsed completely. And when Homo sapiens arrived there, this place was completely destroyed, and Homo sapiens used only the rest of the cave. And this is inside this place where we're going to discover the engravings, and where we can imagine small groups living there during the Ice Age. Okay, so this place is really important because in general we don't have both. We don't have decorated caves used like a house, in fact. Okay, here it's really exceptional because we have engravings, and at the same time the group lived there. And it's really amazing because we've got engravings dated around 30,000 years. And it's really the beginning of art. Yeah? Just imagine the most famous decorated cave in France, it's Lascaux. And the Lascaux, the paintings and the engravings of Lascaux are dated around 19,000 years.
These are older.
Yeah. Yes. 30,000 years. Yeah.
In French?
Pardon, 30 000 ans.
30 000 ans,
voilà, 19 000 ans
Lascaux.
Et 30 000 ans père mon père.
C'est bien ça.
C'est impressionnant, c'est
oui.
Impressionnant.
Voilà.
Ouais. This cave is one of the oldest decorated caves of the world.
Du monde?
Oui.
Oui. Yes, madame.
Oui. Yes. Oui. Mais oui. Oui, on est au plus vieux connu à ce jour. Ouais. Voilà. Et je vous propose
de
voir la vraie, oui, de voir, oui, la vraie, the real cave, it's not a copy.
Yes, Lascaux.
Thank you.
Yes, merci.
Just imagine, after the collapse of the cave, the entrance was situated inside this gallery. Look, near the stairs you've got two openings. And look, openings lead inside this gallery, and on my right you've got the entrance, but now completely closed because I prefer this one, more comfortable. But just imagine, for Homo sapiens, it was the entrance of the cave. Yes, yes, yeah. But during the Ice Age, it was a very good protection from the cold, wind, wild animals, because during the Ice Age, you can imagine bears, lions, wolves, and hyenas inside. That kind of. Not really inside, no. Inside, no, but inside the caves, you can imagine bears, lions, wolves, and hyenas.
The animals that could fit.
Yes, yes. Rams, yes, of course, manatee, reindeers, horses. Yeah, you can. And after the visit, if you want,
You can climb up there.
I heard something. More bears.
Fin du 19e siècle, il y avait encore un classement ici qui avait été institué par le Ferré. Le Ferré, c'est un livre de référence qui a donc essayé de classifier les vins de Bordeaux à partir de 1855, le fameux classement, donc suite à l'exposition universelle. Et donc il y avait aussi un classement dans le Bourget. Et il y avait les 4 premiers crus, il y avait Falfa, le premier cru, il y avait le Bousquet, puis 2 autres. Et puis il y avait les crus bourgeois. Et Boulsecaille est cité comme cru bourgeois, donc dans le Ferré de Cox et Ferré de 2e édition 1867.
Donc le terroir des côtes de Bourg, on disait Bourg, donc les vins de Bourg, mais c'est surtout des vins de côte, hein, comme on voit. On voit la Dordogne. Donc ça s'est formé, ça remonte à très longtemps, à la formation des Pyrénées. Et donc ici c'est très calcaire, vous avez remarqué, Bourg en général. Donc ça date de plusieurs millions d'années, 30 millions d'années, où il y a eu un affaissement en fait. Donc de l'autre côté, le Médoc est resté au niveau de l'eau, et l'eau a creusé en fait. Et donc ça a apporté des alluvions et tout ça. Mais donc la roche calcaire, elle existe depuis très très longtemps. Voilà. Et donc c'est un soubassement calcaire. Et
quelle profondeur?
Ici c'est assez profond. Il y avait des exploitations de pierre. Hein. Bourg au 19e siècle était plus connu pour la pierre que pour le vin. En fait. Et on exportait par le fleuve à Bordeaux. Bordeaux a été construit avec de la pierre de Bourg. C'est comme un cru, la pierre était très réputée. Bon, maintenant c'est plus exploité, les bâtiments sont faits avec de la pierre de Charente souvent. Et donc voilà. Donc c'est un terroir de coteaux, on voit donc un premier coteau qui longe la Dordogne là devant nous, qui va jusqu'à Bourg. Après il y a d'autres coteaux qui partent un peu nord-ouest et nord-est.
How do you translate coteau exactly?
Hillside.
Hillside.
It could be, a coteau is kind of like the hillside, but we're on a ridge.
Right. So that appears to have a length to it, obviously.
So you said that goes over to Bourg.
Le nom étymologique, ça veut dire, donc, ça vient de brûler et sécailles. Les sécailles, ce sont les résidus de la vigne, de la taille, donc les sarments, mais aussi bien les piquets de vigne qui tiennent la vigne. Et donc ça a besoin d'être renouvelé, changé. Et donc ça vient du latin sécare, couper. s'écaille. C'est un nom local de résidus, de sarmentes, que l'on brûlait pour s'en débarrasser. Voilà. On brûle s'écaille. Pour parler plus précisément peut-être de la culture de la vigne, on est en culture raisonnée. On essaie de réduire, on est certifié HVE, donc ça veut dire haute valeur environnementale depuis 2016. Donc on essaie de réduire les traitements phytosanitaires. Bon, vous connaissez les maladies de la vigne, le mildiou et l'oïdium. Et bon, pour s'en défaire, nous on fait le choix d'utiliser quand même des molécules de synthèse, c'est-à-dire qu'il n'y a pas que le cuivre. Il y a le cuivre et la bouillie bordelaise et le soufre, mais voilà, on a fait ce choix-là. Ça permet de traiter moins souvent et d'avoir une meilleure protection, plus durable.
So yeah, that's the place called Place du District Place. So it was settled in the 19th century with very beautiful trees, early trees here, and the church on your back. So we can enjoy the beautiful view over the river. So Bourg has been classified historic village because it's a very, very old village which offers historic and architectural heritage everywhere and houses many treasures that we are going to find out together, especially the petrol tanks that we are going to see later. So nowadays Bourg is situated at the mouth of the river, Dordogne, just at the base of the Gironde estuary. Oui. Vous avez vu le bec d'Ambès. So you have seen the bec d'Ambès, obviously. So in the past, Bourg was not located just at the confluence. It was not in front of the Gironde, in front of the river Dordogne. It was located literally in front of the Gironde estuary because the bec d'Ambès, the piece of land which separates the two rivers, Dordogne and Garonne River, used to be more downstream because upstream, downstream here in front of us, in front of Bourg, and because with time the piece of land to the confluence moved forward thanks to the seeps and sands accumulate on the tip, and because the estuary receives salts and sands from the ocean brought by tides twice a day. And the river receives sands, obviously sands and silts from the river. And then everything accumulates on the tip, and that's why the confluence moved a little bit forward. So originally, when the village was created, during the Antiquity and the Gallo-Roman time, so the historic period straight after the prehistory, Bourg was situated just in front at the base of the Gironde estuary. And with time, the piece of land moved a little bit. Yes.
So how far has it moved from here?
3 kilometers away.
Really?
3 kilometers, yes.
3 km ici. D'accord. C'est ce que...
3 km 800 à peu près.
Pour aller à Ambès là.
Oui.
Ah oui, on s'imagine pas.
3 km 800.
Voilà.
So when Bourg was created, so it used to be a Gallo-Roman villa, and then it later, a little bit later, it became a citadel, a strong citadel, a fortress built at the top of the cliff to defend the entrance of Bordeaux and control the access to the ocean. And the proximity with the river allowed the Romans to develop a strong economy, trade, irrigate culture, wine, the vineyards obviously, and trade. So here in Bourg we have 3 very important resources that built a strong economy. So it was 3 different resources. I think you may have a clue. Could you tell me about the 3 different resources? I'm sure you know, because if you look around you, you can see 2 different.
Trade.
Sorry?
Trade.
Yeah, the trade. 3 different resources that we used to trade with, and especially the Romans.
Fish.
Stone. Fish, yes, stone, absolutely, yes. And the
Wine.
And the wine, yes. Very good.
Good. Okay.
So the first one, yeah,
We're
the
smarter
wine.
than we look.
We are in Côte de Bourg wine growing area, so it's really important, and it was planted by the Romans. It used to be the Vitis Biturica, the oldest vineyard in Bordeaux. So I'm sure the Maison des Vins and everything all together used to talk about the vineyards. So the wine, yes, it was really important here, really strong economy. Loaded, you know, it's on the port. We're gonna go there afterwards. On the port, it used to be wine cellars and wine storehouses as well. And it was built on the port directly to facilitate the transport on boats. And it was really easy to load on boats different wine barrels and everything. It used to be also royal glassworks. On the port during, you know, the 18th century, but it was completely destroyed. It disappeared after the French Revolution. The back of the church is orientated directly to the south, and normally it's orientated to the east, in the direction of Jerusalem.
Yes.
So here it was, because the lack of room at the time, in the 19th century, the lack of room and the street configuration forbade to build the monument on the right orientation. So that's why it's closed. So on your left, that's the actual museum of the Citadel, the Carriage Museum, with a private collection from the 19th century. It's a private and public collection in Aquitania, so it's not open today, but we are in the place of the ancient owl building of the place, the Charter House, which dates this building from the 18th century. And so the Museum of the Carriage leads to the collection of carriage, obviously, and then leads to the tunnel, dated from the 16th century, which leads also to the petrol tank that we are going to see from downtown. Chartreuse is kind of a neo-classical style building, built in the 18th century at the place of the previous medieval castle. So this place used to be, as I told you earlier, a Roman villa, and then it became an absolute fortress in the 13th century. So this place too, the Gallo-Roman house, a stronghold built by the King of England in the 13th century when Aquitania was under the English crown. So it was located in a very strategic place at the top of the cliff to enjoy the view and to protect the entrance to the ocean, because Bourg used to be an outpost of Bordeaux during the medieval times. And later the Duke of Épernon, he was a military, he built a really strong citadel as it was in Blaye. It was kind of the same in comparison, and it was completely destroyed after the... so it was converted by the Duke of Épernon in citadel during the religious war, and then completely destroyed by our dear Louis XIV. Louis XIV came here in Bourg during a couple of months in 1650. And so, because in Bordeaux it was a revolt, La Fronde, which was launched, and the chief of the revolt was in Bordeaux. So Mazarin, you know the Cardinal Mazarin, La Reine Mère, the Queen Mother and Louis XIV, came here with all the court, obviously, and all, you know, their luggage and their stuff.
Yes.
And they came here in Bourg to control the Fronde, which was in Bordeaux. And so after that, Louis XIV decided to destroy completely the citadel, because Bourg at that time, in the 17th century, lost its strategic position on the estuary, as I told you earlier about, you know, the Bec d'Ambès. Yeah, it's a wreck. It's an Italian cargo who was sunk by the Germans when they left, and they sunk more than 200 cargo all along the estuary when they left, and during 2 weeks they sunk more than 200 cargo. So it's a very, very massive number of of wreck. So this one is completely stuck into the mud. So it's not today. We cannot take it out anymore because it's very expensive for the town, obviously. But it doesn't disturb anything about the channel and for the boats navigation. So it's not a problem. And so they sank it because when the Italian government broke with Germany and signed armistice, they sank this one as well. So it's called the Glizia. Vous êtes au parc de l'Esconge. Et Esconge Park. All the area here at the edge of the estuary, we call it a gruyère. You know gruyère, like the cheese with holes everywhere cheese. On the cheese. So we call it gruyère here. The cliff is a gruyère.
Okay, riddled with holes.
Gruyère.
Gruyère.
That's a good word.
You have to have that.
Gruyère.
Gruyère.
De pierre qui a construit Bordeaux. Parce que là, vraiment, on est dans le ton de la pierre. Hein.
The Yellowstone.
Et les carrières étaient en dessous, un peu partout
Alors les carrières, il y en avait ici, mais il y en avait un petit peu avant, Bourg. Hein. Il y a encore des sites d'extraction là-bas.
Prignac et Marcan.
Et après à Goriac, là où vous êtes sur des carrières. Les maisons sont sur des carrières. Là où sont hébergés Kéline et Lynn, vous êtes sur des carrières. Là vous êtes hébergés, il y a des carrières de pierre qui ont été extraites.
Ils ont préféré piocher en dessous au lieu d'ouvrir.
Et oui, parce qu'on gardait les terres exploitables. Oui,
voilà. Au-dessus.
Hein. Et donc effectivement, comme disait Cécile, c'est un gruyère. Oui. Déjà que c'était la Suisse girondine.
C'est ça, ouais.
En plus, c'est
la Toscane aussi, un petit peu plus haut, ouais. And this little tower used to be a pigeon tower.
Why is there an English flag at the top?
It's not an English
Eleanor
flag. It could be, but
Aquitaine.
Aquitaine, yes.
Aquitaine.
That's the Aquitania flag.
Oh, great.
Yeah.